Hi everyone, welcome to today's session. In today's session, we're going to cover about meeting parents' expectations. In this session, we're going to talk about what are parents' expectations. We're going to talk about how you can meet those expectations, and we're going to give you some advice of communicating with parents to make sure that they see that you are the teacher that they want. Okay, so let's look at what parents' expectations may be. Well, first of all, what do you think? What do you think parents' expectations might be? I think for me, for their English teacher, they expect them to be friendly. They expect them to be welcoming. They expect the teacher to understand the child. They expect the teacher to be enthusiastic. The parents really care about three key issues. They really want to know how their child eats, how the child sleeps, and whether or not the child is happy or the child is sad. Because these are the main things that they care about when their child goes to kindergarten. Because you've got to remember, this is maybe the first time that they've been far away from their child, and they're really worried that the child is going to have a difficult time at school. So one of the big things to make sure that when we are communicating with parents is we're letting them know whether their child is happy or not happy. Funny stories. They want to hear funny stories from the day, because these are the stories they will tell with their spouse, their partner, their husband, their wife. These are the stories they will tell with the grandma, the relatives. These are the stories which parents like to tell with each other. And if you can create these stories, or you can let parents know about these stories, then parents are going to remember you. And obviously, parents hope that their children will be able to speak English in some way. We'll explore more why I've put these words on the next couple of slides. Okay, so now let's look at what you can do to meet these expectations. Well, friendly. Remember that even though parents don't speak English, and even though parents might not communicate with you directly, they still see you. And that even if they can't speak English, they can see whether you're friendly or not. They can see how you interact with their child. They can see how you interact with other children. And based on those interactions, they will be judging you to decide whether they think that you're friendly or not. Welcoming is the same thing. If they feel like their child is welcomed in a very happy and genuine way, then they will feel at ease to send their children to kindergarten, and they will know, this teacher really enjoys my child being in that class, is really happy for my child to come to that class. Enthusiastic. So enthusiastic people don't wait to be told to do things. So for example, if parents come and they see a teacher standing, not doing anything, doing their own thing, playing on their phone, well, the instant judgment is, well, this is not an enthusiastic teacher. They're not looking how to help out others, how to help out other kids. And remember, enthusiastic, welcoming, friendly kindergarten teachers don't just care about their children in their class, but they care about all of the children in the school. And they're there to give all of the children a good experience. And when you see this, it can be very obvious whether or not this teacher is enthusiastic by how they interact with all of the children. So like I said in the previous slide, how well the students ate, how well they slept, whether they're happy or sad. Again, if you're not a homeroom teacher, you can't comment very well on how well they eat or how well they sleep. However, you do know whether or not they are happy or sad. And you can't tell lies to the parents because the parents understand their child. But you can say things like, yeah, when they came to school, they were not so happy. But, when we started to play and go to the activities, he or she started to join in and they had a really nice moment with a friend in the class. And by telling these stories to the parents see that you also care about whether or not the child is happy or whether they are actually enjoying their experience. Because remember, it's not just all about updating the parents about what they learned in the day or what words they were able to say. Sure, they may have learned things, but this is not the primary thing that parents care about. Yes, they care about it, but it's not priority number one. And last, like I said in the previous slide, is that funny stories show that you understand their children, because parents are the people who understand their children the best. So parents know what their kids are likely to do. For example, if the parent knows that their child doesn't pay attention, and then you tell a story about how the student was very quiet and very focused the whole lesson, well, the parents are going to know that's not really their personality. So then they're not really going to believe that's a real story. However, if you tell a story which says that, yeah, in this lesson they were really, really focused, and then as soon as it got to break time, they went into their play mode, and they played, and then it took a little bit of time to calm them down. But I think that we're really making progress here. If you tell a story like that, they were like, this teacher understands my child. This teacher understands their unique personality, and they have a plan to work with that unique personality. And next is parents expect their children to be able to speak English in some way. However, many parents don't really know what they want. Many parents don't think that they want them to learn 10 words, they want them to learn 20 words, they want them to be able to present in English, they want them to be able to communicate in English. But they do know that when they send them to our schools, they want them to be able to learn English and speak English. So what can you do is, well, keep in mind the overall outcome of each month. And keep in mind the overall outcome of each month, and keep in mind that you're trying to build the students up to be able to achieve something. And not only achieve something, but achieve something which is measurable and visual. What does this mean then? So can they sing a song? Can they act out a story? Can they give a short presentation? Can they ask and answer questions? If so, then think about taking a short video of it. Think about creating a way where parents can see that they're able to do this. And this is linked to this, that every child in your class, even the ones who you think sit there and they don't say anything, that the parents want to see them interact in English in some way, which is linked to the idea about the video that I just mentioned, is that if we can show parents this, then we can answer the question of what do you want? Because parents don't know what they want. So by showing them what we are doing and showing them that their child is making progress, then all of a sudden they will realize, this is what I want. The child is learning. This is great. So we don't need to help them to know what they want. We just need to show them what we are doing. And I believe that that will be what they want if they can see their child speaking English. And lastly, be proactive. Although parents can't speak English, if you're an expat teacher who doesn't speak Vietnamese, find somebody to help you. And you'll be surprised about the amount of parents who do actually speak English, but if they can't find somebody to help you, parents will be willing to listen to you via a third person, via another Vietnamese person who can speak English, because it shows that even though there is a language barrier, you are willing to put in that effort to, add in extra person to the conversation, because you think it's important the parent hears these updates about their child from you. And that really demonstrates that you're a very enthusiastic, welcoming teacher who cares about that child. So let me give you another perspective. Imagine you're a parent. And imagine that the English teacher comes out and tells you, your child doesn't concentrate in class, or they're so naughty, they're always talking. How do you think you would feel? I know that as myself a parent, if I heard this feedback, the first thing that I think would be, well, okay, I understand that my children, they talk a lot, but this is school. What are you gonna do about it? When I'm at home, I know what I can do, but what are you gonna do about it at school? So compare this. Emily is so active in class, so we don't have her sit next to Lucas in class to help her focus. Now, the difference here is that it's addressing the same problem. However, instead of just identifying the problem and there's no solution, it's telling the parents about what might be the problem, and it's also telling them about the solution that we decided to apply. If we tell them this, then the parents will think, okay, great. This teacher understands my child and has ideas to help them study better. Or another one, she engages in class. She doesn't wait for teachers to finish their questions before she answers. So what's the feedback here? Feedback here is that, okay, she talks out of turn. She is too noisy. She talks a lot in class, but it's phrased in a very, very positive way. So instead of phrasing things as a problem, we can phrase it in a positive way, we can have a funny moment with the parents where we can laugh about maybe the children's misbehavior or what funny situations it causes. And finally, about comments. So something just to note that often we're asked to write comments every month or every 2 months or every 3 months. And sometimes it can feel like a very big task because sometimes it feels like we have 30 students, 40 students, 60 students. But something to realize is parents care about what you say. And do 100% of parents care about the comments? No. However, you don't know which parents really care about the comments and which parents do not care about the comments. So it's always best to write your comments and imagine that every parent really wants to hear from you, really cares about these comments. Very general comments don't mean anything to parents. If I get a comment saying, your child has been very good this month, well, it doesn't mean anything. What does it mean? I don't understand. I don't know. Okay, have they had a happy month? Have they learned a lot this month? Have they focused very well? What things have they learned? Have they made progress in their behavior? Have they made progress in their speaking skills? Well, I don't understand anything through very general comments. You may have 30, but they will only read one. So this is what, like I said, is that each parent only has 1 or 2 or 3 children. So they only get 1 or 2 comments, whereas you're writing a lot. So it feels like you want to get through it fast. However, the quality of each comment has to be the same for each parent, each child. Writing general comments is the fastest way to show parents you don't understand their child. Yes, a key thing about kindergarten and parent communication is our main aim, focus is to show I understand your child. I'm with your child. I care about your child. And if it's too general, it shows that we don't do that. And lastly, parents want to know if you give them comments, how are they different from the previous month or from the previous 3 months or the previous 2 months? How have they made progress? How have they grown as a student, as a person in their knowledge and their ability? If you can demonstrate this, then parents won't have any questions for you. Parents won't ask, are they making progress? Are they able to speak English? Because you are being proactive in providing that information to them. So when parents are left with no questions, then parents are usually quite satisfied. So that's it. Talking to parents and meeting parents' expectations are not easy, but not difficult, but it does require you to be proactive. It does require you to think about it. It does require you to really consider what parents are looking for in order for you to give it to them. However, like I said in the previous slide, if you are proactive and you make sure that parents are getting the information that they need, it will make your life easier because they will not ask any questions because they know they will get all of the answers. So lastly, good luck. You can do it.